Let me thank everybody for showing up. As we approach a legislative week on cybersecurity, I think the first time the Congress has really attempted to tackle this issue so seriously, we thought it'd be helpful for members and staffers to kind of get a little bit of a briefing and a discussion on why we need this legislation. I think I've been doing this for about 8 years. We formed the Cybersecurity Caucus probably 6 years ago with Mr. Langevin from Rhode Island. I think he's on his way. But this came to our attention. I know it's an honor to have Secretary Chertoff here. He knows this information probably 100 times better than I do. But when we started to look at the threat in terms of what was happening out there and the offensive capability that we have as a nation, the idea of that turned against us was quite frightening. And what we saw were a lot of pieces where we had criminal theft of IP, espionage. We found that every agency in the federal government had been hacked into, including the Pentagon, including NASA. And then the cyber warfare piece, a denial of service attack or a Stuxnet type virus that can reprogram things and blow things up and bring them down. Probably the most frightening out of all these scenarios. It's real life stuff, and the military will tell you it's probably one of their greatest concerns. It is, in our view, going to be one of really the future of warfare, in addition to kinetic force. But we do think this is going to be the future out there. You know, the NSA director said that $1 trillion have been stolen in intellectual property. $1 trillion, coming primarily from countries like China and Russia. Why invent when you can steal it? Interestingly, a lot of the military departments hacked into, they're very interested in satellite technology, rocket technology, military secrets. And I can't tell you how much has been stolen without getting into a classified setting. So it's a great concern, not only in terms of protecting businesses and the private sector from this theft of intellectual property, espionage, and a potential denial of service attack or a reprogramming virus like Stuxnet, which could blow up things and cripple the nation. Power grids being blown up, financial institutions, FAA, virtually every critical infrastructure, 90% in the private sector, tied to the internet is vulnerable to this sort of attack. So we looked at, I was on the Speaker's Cybersecurity Task Force, we looked at, okay, what can we do in the Congress? And I can tell you what we're going to pass, hopefully next week, is not going to solve all the problems, but it's certainly a good start. My bill coming out of science and technology will harden the federal networks, will provide for more research and development, more education and awareness in terms of hygiene, and procurement policies that hopefully will influence the private sector. We have an intelligence bill coming out that I co-sponsored that the NSA has become, based on a pilot program where the NSA will share signature threat information with the private sector and vice versa under a very protected environment, not subject to the FOIA, that I think will go a long ways to protecting both the federal government but also the private sector. And then you'll see a similar type of information sharing coming out of the Homeland Security Committee, which I serve on. I think we're marking it up, I want to say tomorrow. And that will come out tomorrow. That has some information sharing, provides more legal authorities to DHS. I think it's important to know who's in charge. But certainly the main entities being DHS, NSA, DOD, you want them working together. You know, Lackland Air Force Base, my home state, I see the cyber command there, what the military can do. Working together with DHS so that the left hand knows what the right's doing, the one in charge with defending knows the offensive capability. They need to work together, as does NSA, on these issues. But, you know, how the public's going to react to these bills will be interesting. But I think that's why the education piece is important, that the people know that this threat is real, that this threat has been going on for years. And for the first time, Congress, and I credit the Speaker in large part for appointing this task force that I served on to finally tackle this issue. And so, like I said, it's not going to be a panacea, but it's a great first start in trying to deal with these issues. And so, with that, I don't want to, we talk too much, elected officials. So I'm sure you want to hear from really the experts here. We have Very fortunate to have Secretary Chertoff here and experts from the private sector and almost all the relevant private industries that deal with cyber issues.